More Passkey questions. Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. I recently got an email with a number of questions about passkeys, and I decided this would be a good opportunity to just knock them down one by one. Here's the first one. Google may know that it's definitely me, but how do I know that it's Google asking? This is even worse when you're saying passkeys might work in the background without me even knowing. Let's assume someone breaks into Google and steals my public key. Computers are able to ask many number of thousands of times in seconds. Would enough return numbers, they might be able to assemble my private key. So passkeys work in the background, I suppose, but you'll know they're being used because one of the ways that you use passkeys is you have to identify yourself or authenticate yourself with the device. So, for example, let's say I'm using my phone to sign into a website or a service, and it wants to use a passkey. The phone's going to ask for my PIN, or it's going to check my fingerprint, or it's going to check my face. Whatever technology is on that phone that authenticates that I am the correct user of the phone. Once that authentication happens, then and only then is the passkey actually used. Honestly, assuming somebody breaks into Google is just a big red herring as far as I'm concerned. While it's theoretically possible, I believe it to be so infinitesimally small that I really don't think it's worth worrying about at all. Now, you talked about public-private keys. I understand that that's kind of sort of what it looks like, but in reality, neither key is public. They are just two keys designed to work together or in conjunction in this scenario. The problem is that with proper encryption algorithms, and trust me, they are using proper encryption algorithms, sure, you could try and brute force one key from the other if you've got an extra 1,000 or million years to do it, because that's the kind of technology, that's the kind of timing it would take for these kind of keys, this kind of encryption to be cracked. Next question. If a passkey is stored in my device, what happens if I change hardware or have a major operating system update or change my operating system on this device? After a major OS update, my husband was in trouble. To what part of my device is this passkey linked? Hardware or software or both? It's tied to the device. And a normal software upgrade, like an OS upgrade or something like that, isn't going to impact it, just like it didn't impact anything else that was stored on your machine. Now, a wipe of that machine, a reinstall of that machine, would potentially erase everything, including the passkeys you have on that machine. But that's not a problem. Passkeys are never the only way to sign into your account. They are the most convenient way. It's a tap or confirmation that you are who you are with your device, and then you're done. There is always another way to sign in. But when you think about it, that's what's required when you're setting up a new phone. You just got a new phone. How do you set up a passkey? You sign in to that service using another technique, and then set up the passkey on that phone. The other technique, sure, it could be username and password, but that's probably going out of style over a long period of time. It could be as simple as a notification on another device on which you're already signed in, or an email that contains a PIN that you need to enter in order to confirm that you are who you are. So there's always a way to sign in, even if passkeys do get lost. And even better, if you're using a password vault to save your passkeys, there are pros and cons of that, but one of the pros of that is that, well, you reinstall your password vault and you've got your passkeys back. You can then start using them once again. Question number 3. I use a password management tool and they do a lot of advertising for passkeys. I think it's a good idea concerning websites, but I won't change my master password to a passkey. If someone breaks into one of my devices, he will have access to my password management. My master password is only in my head. Now, to be clear, they're doing a lot of advertising for passkeys, not because they want you to use a passkey to open your password vault, but rather, like I mentioned earlier, you can use your password vault to store passkeys for all of the services that you're using. So that's not quite what I suspect the advertising is all about. If it is about actually signing into your password vault using a passkey, yeah, I'm with you. I'm using only a long, strong password, of course, and a separate two-factor authentication. At some point, I may revisit that, but for now, I do believe that's the right approach for the password vault. Question number 4. I have a friend who is a mathematician. He told me encryption is all based on large prime numbers. Of course, there are infinite prime numbers, but the larger, the more difficult to identify they are. So there might be doubles in the known frequently used range of prime numbers. This is another gateway, a back entrance mathematicians never know and think about. It's not. I really don't know what exactly you mean by doubles. The encryption algorithms that are being used, and indeed they do rely on prime numbers, have been deeply scrutinized and accepted only after a serious level of vetting. There's no back entrance. There's no risk of this kind of duplication. And believe me, mathematicians and others are deeply concerned with the robustness of this technology. But I'll put it in a different perspective. If there were a problem with this kind of encryption, the internet would break. Because this is the same kind of encryption we're using today whenever we use encrypted connections. HTTPS is built on exactly the same kind of public-private dual key approach that ensures your connections are secure. They are not crackable, and there is not this risk of duplication. It's the same concept that's being used by passkeys. It's really not something I worry about. So, to be clear, I encourage these kind of questions. I really do. Passkeys are a new frontier, and it's going to take a while for us to all understand or become comfortable with them. I honestly believe that they do lead to a more secure ecosystem. But like anything, you and I have to trust them before we're willing to use them. So ask your questions. Hopefully I'll give you some clear answers that'll help you develop that trust. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/172840. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.